Welcome to A Million Roses, man. We got another interview. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Man, what's poppin'? It's Malik 95 with Million Roses. I appreciate y'all having me, bro. This is overdue.
Facts, man. It's all love, brother. I'm glad that we finally got the chance to get it done and sit down and just discuss some stuff, man. So from the outside looking in, it seems like you got a lot going on, man. You've been putting in that work. You've been grinding. So just talk about that, what you've been having going on, like, for the last couple months.
Well, for the last couple of months, it's crazy thinking about, like, with the whole, like, where the world, like, went and how it was projected to be. How the whole projection of the world was supposed to be. It's like, top of the year, I had a project that came out and everything like that. And so it's crazy thinking about, like, in March, like, whole big plans of, like, releasing a project. I was actually, it's going to be my second year doing Buku Fest. And so within that, it was like, you know, all right, cool. We had a video release, you know what I'm saying? The festival, for the release party, all that. Literally the week of the shutdown. The week of the shutdown, that shit happened. And so pretty much, like, you know, a lot of my shit was, like, shot because of all the shit I had planned for, like, the rest of the year, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, with song releases and all that shit like that. All that got delayed. So, you know what I'm saying? Project still did pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I was able to release everything. And then July, I got my second major label placement. And so that was, you know what I'm saying, that's always cool to see. And then right now, it's like working with everybody in the city, just trying to, you know what I'm saying, put the city on.
Definitely. So if you could grade, like, the work that you've been doing since the pandemic, because obviously it, like, switched up what you had going on and what you envisioned this year to be. So, you know, how would you grade yourself as the output of work that you've done so far this year?
I mean, if you ask me, of course, it's like, it's never enough. You know what I'm saying? It'll never be enough. But I feel like I do decent. I wake up every day with this on my mind, with this to do. So, you know, I got to give myself an A for the effort. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
All the time.
And even through, like, the conversation of camera, it seems like during the pandemic, you kind of had this, like, epiphany. You said you went out there to Atlanta or something, and they was telling you how important it is to, like, work with artists, like, outside of your own city and get somebody buzzing and popping.
Right.
So just kind of talk about, you know, that mindset and how that came about and, you know, what you're doing about that right now.
Right. I, like, you know, with the whole conversation with that was, like, once you start, you know, that was my first taste. Once I started getting, like, the major label placement situation going, it's like, you know, you go into these meetings and you still don't have the leverage that you want to have.
And for the people that don't know major label placements, could you kind of explain to them?
Like, you know, the companies like Def Jam, Atlantic, you know, companies that, like, put out major label artists, you know, like, you know, you have, like, you know, local artists, mid-major artists, major label artists, you know, artists that, you know, people, when they release content, it, like, gets put everywhere, you know what I'm saying, on display. And so when it comes from that, it's like the people, of course, who make that music as well, they get, you know, contacted and put on display as well, especially if you're a person that's independent in those situations. And it's like, all right, bet we want to know who you are. Like, you know.
Definitely.
So that's what that is. And so, you know, from that, so I was saying, like, coming from, you know, having to put that effort into that is like, all right, cool. You can go and chase major label placements all day. You can go and sit and do that all day. And it's cool and it's definitely gratifying, but to have that and to also have, like, you know, things going in your city where it's like, all right, cool, I got, you know, the artist that's coming up from down here, and, like, I want to be able to work with everybody, because at the end of the day, you never know, you know what I'm saying, what the situation going to be or what you can make with some people who, you know what I'm saying, it's all just, like, organic, you know what I mean, rather than you, okay, cool, this is, like, something that caught on. I don't really know who this artist is. I like their work, but at the end of the day, still, I got homies that I'm like, you know what I'm saying, I'm fucking with their shit. Let's make something great.
Definitely. And, you know, that's, like, a big thing for me to hear, because, you know, a lot of people say that artists from New Orleans, Louisiana, Perry don't work together. So for you to have that mindset to be like, you want to just, you know, reach out to artists and, you know, just work with certain artists. Can you tell me, like, how impactful that could be for the music scene?
Man, that shit could change everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, right now, and we like one of the first generations, I would say, of New Orleans rap. Because I like to say I've been, like, just even if I wasn't involved in it, I've been peeping New Orleans rap music for so long, to I, like, damn near be trying to be a historian of the shit. Or just, like, you know what I'm saying, the pitfalls of the shit, the successes of everything. So it's like, I realize now we like one of the first generations to take up on and realize what the faults was of previous generations and, like, act on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we got to work together. we gotta, you know what I'm saying, do all this shit as a unit, and it's gonna work. You know.
So it's kind of basically something like we kind of building our like own infrastructure.
It's just us. It's literally just us.
Nah, no doubt, no doubt. And what are some of the what are some of like the disadvantages you thought that was at hand that we just came to us? Like some shit that we ain't even asked, but what's some of the disadvantages?
Because I used to, you know what I'm saying, like we sitting in a studio right now, it's like, you know what I'm saying, it's like, end of the day, I remember when I left, because I left New Orleans for a while. Like, I just moved back to New Orleans, I would say, like, 2018. And so, like, being all these different places, of course, you will see, like, it's communities where people can go and, like, you can hear producers' beats, you can meet up with artists, whether they be major label artists or just, you know what I'm saying, independent with a buzz. It's like, there's a communal space for these people to go and, like, make music together. Right. We never had that shit before. We never had that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very important shit. For me, seeing it with my own two eyes, of like, damn, in Atlanta, that's what they got. In LA, that's what they got. In Philadelphia, that's what they got. You know what I'm saying? So we never had something like that before. But apparently everybody love what we do when it do get put on display. But we never had anything like that's been like highlighted as that. Like,
definitely. And you for the people that don't know, you outside of production, you also an artist and you do engineer work too?
Yeah, I engineer like every artist I work with, I engineer that shit.
So you like the trifecta of what you got going on. So just kind of speak on your experience of, you know, becoming that artist that could do whatever.
I think it all started like how most people started with just like, you know, you skim through beats all day and then it's like you don't like what you hear. I got tired of that. Like, I'm just like, all right, bet I just don't like to, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm an artist first. I'm an artist first before like anything. Like, I always wanted to, like, you know what I'm saying, write songs and, you know what I'm saying? But I never had like a full blown like backdrop that I ever like was in love with. Right. So I'm like, man, you know what? I'm about to make my own. And I didn't really start producing until 2015.
And when did you start rapping?
2011.
Okay.
2011, but it wasn't on no like 2011. I like started releasing music. 13, like the end of 13, I stopped. Like I stopped. Like I was on some like, you know, I knew I always wanted to do music. I just know what I wanted to do in music. You know what I'm saying? So I left New Orleans, went out to Philadelphia, went to like an engineering school out there, and learned a lot of different things. Had a lot of fun, and it was like that's where I pretty much honed my skills on like production and like engineering. It was like, you know, everywhere but New Orleans. And I came back down here and like went to work.
So you feel like you bringing your own flavor to the New Orleans music scene to add on to it.
For sure.
And that's like so fitting to New Orleans because like even when people be like, that person don't sound like New Orleans. And in my head, I don't feel like New Orleans really have like a specific sound or it was meant to have a specific sound.
I say that now, but it's like, you know, we got artists now, like artists that I fuck with, I'm like, all right, bet. That's a New Orleans ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got artists now, like, I'm like, all right, bet. Like, bro, I work with niggas like, oh, wait, you New Orleans.
Yeah, facts. You know, nah, definitely. But they do got some people, like, first person that come to my head is Rob from Nas, where he got his own little distinct style. And he like, oh, yeah, he from New Orleans.
Exactly.
Nah, for sure.
Die like him, Nino, Iceberg for sure.
Nah, definitely Iceberg, yeah, for sure. Like, nah, man, for sure. And it's like that creative pool is like definitely bubbling up, and then you playing a major part in doing that. And just kind of speak on like jump into like where it first began that for you.
It's crazy because I'm a person that always wanted to be involved in music for so long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always wanted to, like, I was just observing the, like, you know, when Currency first was trying to like, find his legs in the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, after his whole situation, it's like, all right, bet I watched that, analyzed that, always not realizing, like, you know what I'm saying, what I'm doing by doing my own research, not realizing that everybody else ain't doing this type of research. They just listening to the music. But me, I'm like full blown, like, invested in what they're doing. But I didn't realize that at the time, you know what I'm saying? So I think it all started from, like, I was a kid, like, recording my mama's house, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn near she was ready to kick us out because, you know, we up late at night trying to record projects and shit like that. So that was my start. Started recording on this project called, this like, website called Mixcraft.
Right.
Recording all my partners on there. I was the one, like, you know what I'm saying, engineering all that shit. And so, like I said, I wasn't producing at the time, so I was just, like, rapping and engineering and shit. And then I think that mainly was my start, and then like going and moving away to see how you know, because we're in New Orleans, like you don't realize how big the world is. Like, for so long, I never realized how big.
So could you like emphasize on that, like how important it is to travel and whatnot?
It's literally so important, like, because even when like still to this day, like I've never heard somebody like tell me like my shit sound like I'm from New Orleans, or like, you know what I'm saying, I tell people all the time I feel like I lost my accent at one point because of like just moving around so much and like trying to get people to understand. Like I'll be so many like places and people be like, what you said, what you said, what you said, and you know what I'm saying, and so I got tired of that shit, so I had to like switch it up a little bit because we don't realize how much like our shit is different compared to other people, but we understand each other. Like if I was to talk to a nigga from my city, then I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna bring it. They know what I'm talking about, but anywhere else they don't know what the fuck we talking about. Bro.
So what city you think impacted you the most as far as like musically?
Philadelphia for sure. Philadelphia.
And what years you was out there?
I was out there from 2013 till 2018. So
you was out there like around the time Uzi was beginning to pop off and stuff like that. So just talk about how the music scene was out there.
It was crazy because like, you know, that shit was another thing. Like realizing how important it was. Like out there, the radio, bro. Like I watched the people like. Even out there, to surprise you out there, did you know that even out there they have like on Saturday nights they do like they have like shakedowns and shit like that out there too? Like they playing bounce music on a Saturday night out there too?
Nah, they play bounce music in Philadelphia?
Saturday nights.
Same
shit as down here. They on the old shit though.
Right.
But the same thing they doing, like it's a DJ called DJ Diamond Cuts. She the one who broke Uzi. Like she was playing Uzi shit and then like that's how Don Cannon and DJ Drama had like heard about it shit. Like riding through Philly and she was playing it. But like, yeah, Saturday nights in Philly, you gonna hear bounce music in the car. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. How impactful the shit is.
Because you wouldn't even know that, you feel me? Unless you go out there or somebody told you. Nah.
It fucked my head up. But like, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy to see because it's like, I watched, you know, I was moving back and forth because my best friend, like he was living in New York at the time too. So I'm back and forth Philly, New York. Listening to Funk Flex on the radio. At this time, Funk Flex putting a boogie on.
Right.
He's spinning that shit. Like every night, prime slots. Hey, Boogie with the hoodie. Diamond Cut, she blasting Uzi shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm watching these people and I'm like, damn, like, they putting people on. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It was beautiful to see. Like, I'm like, oh, damn, this how it's supposed to go.
All right.
This how it's supposed to go.
How you feel about the radio play in New Orleans? Like,
I think that at the end of the day, it needs to be more like, you know what I'm saying, tapped in on what's going on. Because that's the thing. Like, they supported, like, I had, and even with me, like, while waiting to tell you, like, I had to, like, fight for so long. Because I realized early on for, like, the impact of what radio was. So, like, I was starting off camera, but I had a single in 2019 called Bankroll. But, like, years before that, like, I pulled up on Wild Wayne, I think, at, like, Cafe Istanbul or some shit like that. I hear that at an event. Like, young nigga, like, I'm like, yeah, but like I do music. Like, I literally just pulled up there just to holler at him. So from that, he remembered me. You know what I'm saying? And then like, before I did Bonnaroo last year with Freewater, when we went out there before we went to Bonnaroo, I went and did they did the single I had, Bankroll, and they like was spinning that shit like. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, it wasn't like the prime slot, but it was still like, you know what I'm saying? Love is love. They did what they can with it, and it was like they was. You know what I'm saying? I felt the impact of what that shit did for the song. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what slot it was. So it was like they featured me as like a you know, I forget what they was doing it, like a next up artist or something like that. So it's very radio shit important. You know what I'm saying? So I wish they did.
And do you think like that kind of like the younger generation don't really understand how important the radio is? Or do you think the radio is as important to them as it would be for, you know, somebody in our generation?
Man, I think they understand. I think they for sure understand. Like, I think, because at the end of the day, still, like, you know, the kids or the older people, like, they don't, you know what I'm saying? You just don't realize how impactful radio is until you like realize, oh shit, like, we are prime slot. You in the car and randomly your shit come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother feeling. You know what I'm saying? Rather than somebody going to search for your shit, you know what I'm saying? Or like this one, like streaming site going and put you on like a playlist or something like that. Like, nah, nigga, this is the radio. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is, everybody got this shit. Like, even if you want some accidental shit, you in a fucking corner store. Your shit could be on in a corner store. You know
real talk. since you like, you well seasoned in the game and you've been traveling around and stuff, and you really got your foot in the game in the New Orleans music scene. Talk about some of like the biggest, lessons you've done learned so far.
Man, biggest lesson I've learned so far is don't take anything personal. It's all business. It's all business for sure. The minute you start getting your like emotions involved in this shit, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we all emotional people.
Right.
But you gotta learn how to control that shit. That shit fuck up a lot of relationships. Even me, like I'm willing to admit relationships I fucked up with that like early on, or like, you know what I'm saying, just letting my emotions get in the way of shit. You know what I'm saying? And just not realizing like, you know what I'm saying, oh, this is how a real nigga supposed to handle his business.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this ain't the street, it's the music industry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody ain't on that type of time. Everybody wasn't raised how you was raised.
Right.
Like, it's just you gotta learn how to adapt with this shit.
Right.
Like never take anything personal. I think that's like the most important, if not the only thing you gotta remember in this shit.
Nah, real talk. and what's some of the biggest setbacks that you've done encountered so far through your music career?
Setbacks. I want to say just like early on, like lack of not like I wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. It's like a gift and a curse thing because I like to say that I build on like you got to build on your weak points so that they become eventually strong points. You know what I'm saying? So I think like early on, like not being fully indulged in what I'm in now, as far as like just I tell people all the time, like my mom used to tell me all the time, like you need to learn how to play the piano. You need to learn how to, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like my biggest regret. It's like not learning how to play the piano. I know I'd be like I done figured out my workarounds to that shit now, but like early on, like my like lack of wanting to do that, just really wanted to focus on being an artist. Like that was like kind of something that set me back, not understanding that eventually I needed to be well rounded and shit. Because they kill a lot of artists too, with them not being able to. Oh man, I need a like what Wayne said. Wayne said you need a producer,
right? Everything, man.
Like I tell everybody I'm with, and some people, you know what I'm saying, they take heed to that shit. Some people don't. I'm like, bro, you want to be able to walk into a spot and be able to literally just do that shit by yourself.
Right.
I could walk in here tomorrow and make a song by myself, make an album by myself.
And how valuable do you think that is for an artist?
That's everything. That's everything. I done seen some of the biggest artists like literally step up to the fucking control board, press record on their shit. Thug record his own shit. You know what I'm saying? Like artists like that, like they sit in the room and fucking, you know what I'm saying? That's just their whole piece. And a lot of people don't realize that's why they work ethic like that, because they don't really need nobody. Unless until the song's done, that I can go back and somebody mix that shit. Like it's done with.
First, now that's some good information. And speaking on that, like, what's some advice you could give to like some of the younger artists that's coming up in the New Orleans music scene right now?
Man, self-sufficiency is everything. Kind of we talking that being self-sufficient is everything. Of course, like you know what I'm saying. There's gonna be artists who, you know, I'm like I get it. Like some people who just literally like can't find the touch in making a beat. You know what I'm saying? I get that. So it's like now you gotta fully indulge yourself and finding somebody who can do that. It's just never. You know what I'm saying? Giving up on what you believe in, not giving up on what you think is the right way to go about doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know that eventually will never be your strong suit, then like you need to like figure out the workaround. So it's like, you know, if you know you can't engineer, like luckily I was blessed to say I got a little bit of skill level and everything. But it's like, you know, there's some people who generally just don't even want to find they touching it, or just, you know, they do years of just trying to figure it out, but it just never work out. So you gotta just find your workaround to all this shit. You gotta it's always a way to do something.
Real talk. And another thing I've observed, and since like the rap scene, like as far as like the artistry, is not like taking off as much, but I feel like a lot of New Orleans has a lot of like producers that's real talented, but they don't probably get us noticed as much as because, like you said, the artist's not really taking off like it's supposed to. I ain't gonna say like it's supposed to be, but at this time they're not to that mainstream level or, you know, just that regional level. So what's some advice you could have for like these producers? Like, because I'm starting to see like more and more people become producers, and you know they're working with a lot of big time artists, and it's just a lot of mixing going on. I feel like that's real good for the music scene.
Right. I'm about to say, we got a lot of talented producers, bro. And I still think about it, though. I didn't realize, like, I just realized, and, like, the thing about that shit the other day, how I'm like, damn, they got a lot of talented ass producers in this fucking city, bro. A lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's like, cool as hell to see, like, of all, like, you know what I'm saying, on all different spectrums of this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think right now it's like falling into, you know, that next step of everybody just finding their own like lane and really like embarking on that shit, because that's what the industry is right now. Like, you know, like people to tell you like it's different. People even in production they doing different things. Like they got niggas who just make like loop ideas. Like to say what a loop idea is, it's like, all right, I'm making like melodies and shit like that. Like I don't do drums. They got niggas who like really make drums. Like and they like, you know what I'm saying, like a dude who do all Rob shit. Perry, I'm not Perry. Rob
2B.
Rob 2B.
Yeah, shout out Rob 2B. He
Drums crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's niggas like that who do that. You know what I'm saying? They got niggas who do loops like Lucrative. You know? Like Lucrative does like some of the
shout out Lucrative.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got niggas who just doing dope shit, and it's like, all right, bet everybody need to find their lane, and then of course they still do other shit too, but it's like whatever motherfuckers doing, the shit working. You know what I'm saying? Like with me, like I do drums. I'm just starting to really embark on the loop shit. But like with me, like my drums is something that people fuck with a lot. So it's like, you know, finding your own touch in this shit. And it's like that shit gonna work out eventually.
Nah, for sure. And another thing, I think your manager was telling me. He was saying like something about your hearing had like kind of
he love this shit, bro.
It must be like one of his favorite stories or something.
Right, it's like one of his favorite stories.
But just speak on that a little bit.
Shit, I be hating that shit. I be like, bro, nah, bro. It's just the fact that it was crazy. I did a whole ass fucking like I was living in LA at the time. Fucking lost my fucking hearing, bro. Like
permanently?
Nah, like on some like damn near cut. It's still a little fucked up now, but it was like I've been having like ear problems since I was a kid. Like I didn't realize that if you get like constant ear infections, your shit get like something bad that could happen. So I got diagnosed with some crazy ass shit where there was like something growing in my ear and like popped my eardrum, like extra tissue. And so like when the extra tissue grew and burst that shit, the only way you can get that shit out is surgery. So I went through like a 6-hour surgery in like Beverly Hills, like the same spot with like Big, you know what I mean? Like the shit was a bag, bro. The shit was a fucking bag. The shit failed. Shit failed. Came home. My shit was fucked up. They couldn't operate on my shit because it was so inflamed.
So were you doing music around this time?
Yeah, the Pete. So I came home, and around this time I had did a project. I was working on a project and shit like that, and I was doing a project. I was making a project with one fucking ear. One ear. Literally. Then like it was crazy as hell because my shit was a little better. And so like in 2019 I did Buku for the first time, and then literally like 2 weeks after Buku in April I had went to do my second ear surgery. That bitch failed too. So I'm on my third surgery right now.
So you still gotta get it done. Man, that's crazy.
Still gotta get it done.
But it's better now though, huh?
Yeah, it's straight now, but like it's just weird as hell to think about like the day that I wake up and I'm gonna be able to hear out that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Unless I get the shit fixed. But it's just wild as hell. Like, you know, that was like a weird thing at the time. Like it was like a crazy thing. Like everybody like they'd be like, what? Like nigga, you doing music with one fucking song? That's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit crazy as hell. People would never know though. Like I got so tired of like being looked at all. So I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, fuck that shit.
Right, you can still do it. Like, nah, facts, though. And during that story, I seen you mention like the Buku Festival. So could you speak on like how you make all these connections with just being able to do shit like that, like the Buku Festival, and just meeting all these different people and whatnot?
That was crazy. So I had a homie, actually, he do music too. And so he was in close with the guys who book like a lot of shit in the city. And so like he was like, yeah, but they got like new artists that I should be fucking with and stuff like that. And he brought my name up amongst a bunch of other people. And so he was like, out of all them people, like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, man, like I fuck with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your shit hard. Shout out Dan. That's my boy.
Dan Hefner. Dan Heffler.
I see y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dog. Shout out Dan. Yeah, that's my guy, dog. Yeah, he real cool, man. Shout out Dan for sure.
So like, you know, he do a lot for the city, bro. Like he does a lot. So it was like with him, he was like, yeah, bro, I'm fucking with you. So he actually had booked me on another show at the Republic, opening for J-Rock. And so, you know, that's one other thing I pride myself on. I love to do a live show. Like my live show is always gonna be like, I love that shit. So like, did that shit, and then like it was like, cause I did Voodoo in 2017. I did that shit, booked that shit by myself. Like I found out about, cause I don't know if people realize like there's like, you know, when people be like, oh, how do I get booked on festivals, booked on all this shit like that. So there's a website. That bitch, I don't think that around the time that bitch was like free. I don't know if it was like free or like some like I found a finesse on this shit.
Right.
But it's a website called Polestar. So Polestar got every fucking like booking agent, got everybody on that bitch. And you can like literally book yourself a festival around the country. If you got enough like, you know what I'm saying, like leverage to do this shit, you could like really book yourself on like festivals around the country.
Right.
And so like I sent like a cold email. It's like the people who book at Voodoo, and like, yeah, we'd love to have you. Because around that time, I was still doing decent shit. I had a song called Right Now, and that song still do good to this day. Like 2016, that bitch still do like 30,000, 40,000 streams a month. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like they was fucking with that around that time. That song was moving. So it was like, yeah, we'd love to have you. And so, you know, I moved to LA around the time. So when I came back, it was just some ironic shit that like my name came up on who was moving in the city. And I had a project coming at the time. So it was like, you know, and then I had the singles and shit like that was moving around the time too. So it was just like, you know, all time, everything in this shit is time.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, with the buku shit, I think it's all, that's the most important part about all this shit though, is who you know. Like, all about who you know. I ain't got like, you know, a lot of my placements, like, they done been landed off these relationships that I had over the years, you know what I'm saying? All that shit is relationships.
Nah, that shit love, man. And I know recently, like this year, I think you said during the summer you did a song with YK Osiris.
Oh, right.
Right. So speak on how that came about and
so I got a
produce the beat from it.
Yeah, so I did the beat. So I literally around the time like I did the beat like I can't even tell you when I did the beat because that's the wild part about that shit. It's one of them beats where you literally just like I try my best to do at least like 6 beats a day. So, you know, it's just in the folders.
Right.
And so I actually got a crazy story around that shit. But I got I've been rocking with him for a while too. In Atlanta, he discovered Trey Songz. So that's like one of my OGs in this shit.
I thought you were about to say YK Osiris discovered
His name Troy Taylor. So he discovered Trey Songz and like he like produced pretty much our childhood, right? And so like I ended up just cold emailing him like in 2016 or something like, bro, like you're a legend. Like I need to like work with you. You know what I'm saying? All that. And he like sat and like interviewed me over the phone and then randomly like invited me to Atlanta to come like stay in the mansion and work on shit. But it took me like years to like even like lock in some shit with him. Like we did some records now, but it's like, you know, that was like our first major label situation. And so it was like together. And so with that, like he randomly one day YK was working on his album, and so like I guess they played my shit and it was fucking with it.
Right.
He was putting like snippets on the internet and shit like that. I waited on that placement for a while, but like he was just putting shit out online. He was making like trailers to it and all this shit like that, and people was fucking with it. And so they, you know, they ended up doing a video, all this different shit to it. But that's my most current like major label when I say right now. Yeah, I got a few other things I did, but yeah, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy to see.
Fact. So what's one of your best stories you have so far, like since being in the industry and whatnot? I'm just being around it.
One of my favorite stories. Damn. It's weird though because it's like I think you gotta go from like, okay, I think it's the day that. Dang, it's so many fucking stories. It was a day I did a so my first actual production placement was with this guy in the UK, and so that at the day he did like his album. The album went gold, right? Damn. So the album went gold in the UK, and so like around it, but it was like the album that like blew him up and everything like that. And so around this time, he was actually on the tour. You know, heard the artist Skepta? Yeah, fact. So he went on tour with Skepta and Pop Smoke. So all of them were like on a tour together, and that's when all this shit was moving around. So the day the album went gold was like one of the fucking best days of my life because I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about like the whole idea, like, you know, when you think about that was my first actual situation. So first of all, thinking about I would never see a situation like this. Right. Like, oh, wait.
Was you expecting it to go gold?
No, that's the thing. The album like really like he was already popping over there, but like that shit like
took off.
Like I'm watching like the day like the album go like because he was releasing like these blogs and shit like that of like just the tour and all that shit like that. So literally like I remember that morning I had checked my phone and he was releasing like these daily like blogs and shit like that. So I opened up, checked my phone, and it's like the song I produced. I'm talking about like these kids over there were like mosh pitting, bro. Mosh pitting. And on that day I was going to Baton Rouge because I had just got like this new car. I just got like this, like my new car and shit like that. And so I go out there, I get my shit painted. I check my phone. That day the shit was gold. That night,
yeah, good ass.
I'm having a great fucking. Then I go that night. That night I go to fucking. I'm driving back from Baton Rouge. I see all my pilots and shit like that. Like I don't expect to see these niggas.
Right, you just see them random.
They just in the middle of the street. We on downtown, like in the CBD, like I'm literally like just looking at this shit. I'm like, all right, bet. So we go to like, yeah, man, park your shit. Let's turn up. Like on some random shit. I see these niggas. I'm like, oh, this is just divine timing. And they're like, man, what the fuck is a nice ass car? Like, what's going on? Like, and so we go to this spot. You ever been to Metro?
Yeah. I heard of it. I don't know if I've ever been to it, but I heard of it.
Bruh, I was so fucking drunk in Metro. I'm talking about I'm in Metro like you got the long ass says I'm in Metro like this. Fucking lit.
Son. Crazy day, huh?
Motherfucker, man.
Nah, for sure.
Man, I remember I got home at like fucking 5 a.m., bro. One of the best days of my life, for sure. One of the best. That was probably my best. They got a lot of other crazy at the studio stories and shit like that, but that was like one of my favorite.
Like one of them days.
Like, all right, bet I'm working, and this shit is like paying off.
Shit, yeah, man, that's crazy for real. I got just one more question for you, man. What's some artists that you want to work with, that you haven't worked with yet? Rather it be in the city, or rather it just be any artist.
I want to work with. Right now, I think like my ideal person to work with. I want to work with Don Toliver. Bad as fuck.
Nah, he hard
like
for sure.
Me and him on like the same like wavelength as far as music is concerned, for sure.
Y'all having any like connection so far? Facts, still trying to work it with him.
Trying to figure that out.
Facts.
And it's the state over. That's the wild part.
Right.
State over. Him and the kid Leroy.
He from Chicago, huh?
Nah, but he signed like all the Chicago, like he signed the Bibby. He from Australia though.
Damn, facts. So
like his shit, he
I haven't got a chance to hear. You listen to him, Marquise? I haven't got a chance. He must be popping off right now.
He's sitting at like 3 on Billboard right now.
Damn.
He hard as fuck.
How long you been rapping for?
Shit, I want to say his shit just really started getting popping like last year, but he been rapping for a minute.
Facts.
18, 19, but he been rapping since he was about 14.
I think he been pushing him since even before like Juice WRLD passed away. Huh?
Yeah, that was like Juice WRLD, like Protege type shit.
Nah, for sure. That's right.
He's writing fire, but that's what we're talking about that shit off camera too. Like, you know, like coming back off, realizing what that shit is. Like try to work with everybody in the city in the span of like a month, 2 months, and you know, I'm excited for a lot of shit that people from the city got. It's about to be some shit for sure.
Right. For sure, man. You got anything else that you would like to add?
And I been wanting to tell myself this shit all the time too. Even before, like, you know what I'm saying, I started seeing like how the shit really worked in music or like all that. Like, you know, there'll be times when you started to realize like, all right, bet, like, I don't know if this shit gonna be something that I like could work with, you know what I'm saying? Life start to happen and shit like that. I be really want. It sound like some cliche shit, but bro, niggas really gotta just keep fucking working. Like, to anybody think about this shit, you gotta just keep fucking working. Like, I be trying to tell myself that shit all the time. So this is my reminder to myself and to anybody who want to listen to me. Like, keep fucking working.
Excuse me.
That's all.
Nah, for sure. I appreciate what you got going on as an artist and what you doing for New Orleans, man. Like, I think this shit bubbling up. It's only a matter of time before it just go crazy. Cause like you say, we influence a lot of people already, so we might as well just be able to directly influence them. You feel me? So
key that shit, bro.
Nah, for
appreciate
sure.
y'all.
Nah,
y'all do a lot for y'all platform, bro.
Nah, for sure. That's love, bro.
Jump peeping that shit. I'm like, oh yeah, this is important.
Facts. For sure, bro. For sure, man. So y'all make sure y'all tune in and check out what Malik 95 got going on, man. We going up, and that's for life, for sure.